I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Ross.
And welcome to For Your Convenience.
All right. So our podcast here is just going to be about informing the public about really important issues. Wouldn't you say, Jimmy?
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're both kind of people who enjoy helping others, and we think that this podcast can just be a way for us to reach out and, you know, help people make good decisions about the products they consume, the TV they watch, you know, stuff like that.
Just, you know, you hear all this stuff on the news, Fox News giving you this, NBC giving you that. You know, you're just done with hearing it, and you just need a credible source that is known as Ross and Jimmy.
Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to tell you the truth straight up, and we'll cut through the crap that you see out there.
Exactly. So that brings us to our inaugural episode topic, which is surrounding the show known as Goosebumps.
Oh, it's just a real classic.
It is a classic. So for those of you who have been living under a rock for the past 100 years and don't know what Goosebumps is, it's an 80s and 90s, children will definitely know it, a book series by R.L. Stine turned into a show, a TV show. It's about short horror stories. And there's actually a new movie that came out last year with Jack Black.
Mm-hmm. Cameo R.L. Stine in the movie.
Oh, R.L. Stine. Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry, I just spoiled it.
So this show, it's from the 90s. It's amazing. The special effects are unrivaled today.
Yeah, they're just truly next level special effects.
There is some CGI, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's the most Canadian show you'll ever watch, probably.
True, yes. Most of the actors on the show were Canadians.
Little fun tidbit, there's a young Ryan Gosling starred in the episode Say Cheese and Die.
Let me tell you, he looked great.
His hair was awesome.
Yeah, it was on point.
There's like a trademark 90s hairstyle. Like all the boys exhibit, it's like this M on their forehead of like a middle split.
Mm-hmm. And he was rocking it.
It's just gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So to get down to it, though, and to get a little bit more serious, the main reason we're looking at this show is the presence of kooky dads.
Mm-hmm. Throughout the show, in most episodes, the storyline is centered around a family. And generally the kids are the main characters. Mm-hmm. And in the background are the mom, and I don't want to minimize the role of the mother, but more importantly for the series, the dad.
Sometimes there's a strong mother presence too.
True.
So.
But oftentimes the mother's the one comforting the children, where the dad plays a more silly and kooky role.
Right. Like a classic Homer Simpson.
Indeed.
Or these kids are just unsupervised, and you're like, where are your parents?
Yeah, I mean, that happens most episodes.
I think half of these problems could be solved with better communication.
Yeah, indeed.
And more supervision from parents.
Exactly.
So kooky, eccentric, a little bit wild, crazy. Mm-hmm. So we came together with this list of... we each picked top 5 kooky dads.
Mm-hmm. From Goosebumps, the TV show.
The TV show, yes, it should be noted. These kooky performances by Canadian dad actors.
Mm-hmm. Not bad actors. Dad actors. They're excellent actors,
They're
actually.
Excellent dad actors. Mm-hmm. Father figures.
Indeed.
Okay, so, I don't know. Are we ready to go? Should we just start it?
I just would like to say before we get into this that we're ranking these dads so that you... have, you know, a little something to go on. When you open up Netflix, you see 5 seasons of Goosebumps, hundreds of episodes.
Amazing, yeah.
You can make a decision,
so prolific.
An informed decision, based on the dads, on which episodes you want to enjoy. And, you know, we're going to put some quality episodes out there for you to enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Couple other things. This can be applied to any season you watch. So now you'll have a critical eye for judging kookiness of dads.
It's true.
The other part, if you do plan to watch these, we will spoil some of the episodes.
Yes. Some of them have a twist at the end, which is central to the dad's story. So in giving you a critical examination of the dads, we are going to have to spoil some the twist of some episodes.
Yeah.
We hope you can forgive us, but in our journalistic integrity, we couldn't leave that out.
So true. R.L. Stine, king of the twist.
Yeah, he beats Chubby Checker at doing the twist.
All right, then we'll start. My fifth pick, the least kookiest of the kooky dads, in my opinion, was season 3, episode 5, Shocker on Shock Street. What an amazing title.
It really was. I thought it was a sexual innuendo at first, but after watching the episode, it couldn't be farther from that.
Shocker on Shock Street. Really creative title there. So this dad is an inventor. And basically the premise of this episode is these two kids are in a theme park called Shock Street or whatever, or like a theme park or a movie set.
It's a movie set, yes.
But there's like rides and stuff. And they go through this, yada, 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 fighting all these like really realistic monsters. And in the end, spoiler alert, which kind of almost disqualifies this dad, is that the kids are actually robots.
Yes, so his child... who he was sending through this theme park like experience was a robot designed to be in the movies he's making, much like the scary monsters, which were also robots.
And then they turn on him in the end.
Yes, they he deactivates them because they weren't good enough of robots, but they have other plans, and that's where the episode ends.
So this dad in a yellow lab coat, very quirky, inventing these creepy robots, and like at the beginning they're like looking at his robotronics and stuff. He's like, "These are my creations," yada yada yada, and like he's trying to scare these kids.
One of the straight up craziest from the start dads.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Albert
series.
Einstein.
Yeah, he's like a mad scientist kind of robot guy.
Yeah, definitely. And one of my favorite parts is when she's like, "Oh, can mom come with? She loves scary rides." And he's like, "What?" He like flips out on her for asking about mom, but maybe she wasn't programmed to have that, so it was a bug and he was just pissed about it or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Dads. Moving on to my fifth pick, which is also Ross's fourth pick.
Ooh, yeah. 2 for 1.
Yeah, indeed.
Value.
This is the only pick we have in common. Which I think really speaks to the depth of the kookiness of the dads in this show.
R.L. Stine knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he really did.
Perfectly crafted kookiness.
Yeah, it was just so well spread. But this one we had in common, and it is Jed, Amy, and Sarah's dad from Night of the Living Dummy 2. That's season 1, episode 12, for those of you who are trying to keep along with us.
And it's confusing because it's the first Night of the Living Dummy episode in the Goosebumps series, but we're guessing that it's based on the book too.
Yes. So this was a recurring storyline throughout Goosebumps, and one of the more iconic stories there was. So
he's the main villain. Slappy the dummy is the main villain in the movie.
Yeah, indeed. So, where do we start with this, Dad?
The talent show, the family talent show.
It's true. They had So the plot of the episode is that the girl, one of the girl daughters in the family.
What about the male daughter?
Yes. She is she's a ventriloquist as a hobby, and so her father gets her a new dummy because her old one is falling apart, and this dummy turns out to be the spawn of evil. And essentially, he's causing problems, and then no one believes her that it's the dummy causing the problems in the family, and they think it's her, and eventually there's a showdown with the dummy.
Yeah.
But back to the dad, some great points about him were his toupee. I found that to be hilarious. He's balding and was putting on his toupee in a very particular manner. Hilarious.
I almost don't remember that part.
Yeah.
I just remember his cowboy hat.
Yes. Yeah. So at one point there's a family talent show kind of thing.
And this seems to be like a weekly thing.
Yeah, it was a recurring thing where each member of the family would come up and tell a joke, or the girl would do her ventriloquism, and the dad the dad, Ross, why don't you tell him what he did?
What was the song? Was it like...
It was If You're Happy and You Know It.
He's playing guitar in like this Indiana Jones type outfit with a cowboy hat and like this like leather looking vest from what I remember.
Yep.
And he's like singing an off key Happy and You Know It.
It's great. Another aspect of this dad that I think is important is we covered the kookiness of the dads. But another important aspect of the dads in this series, I think, is actually how good of fathers they are.
Oh,
and
indeed.
Something that I was kind of blown away by is how good of a father he is. Certainly put in his shoes, I would not be the same. For instance, he encourages his daughter to be a ventriloquist. Personally, I would have a really hard time encouraging that in my children
if my daughter
the day they come.
Yeah, if my daughter wanted to be a ventriloquist, I'd probably put the kibosh on it.
I'd say hard pass. No, you're not doing that. Yeah. I want you to have friends. You're not doing that.
I want to go to school to be a ventriloquist.
Yeah, like, come on.
Ventriloquist over the wall. Kung Pao.
Yeah, Kung Pao references. I'm sure you all get it. So that's about all I had to say about that, Dad. Ross, do you have any other comments on him?
That's it. So that was my number 4.
And my number 5.
Jimmy's number 5. So you going to do your number 4?
I'll move on to my number 4, which is from Season 2, Episode 14, Vampire Breath. And now, this one certainly warrants a little bit of spoiling of the episode.
Yeah.
In order to explain. So how the episode goes is Kara and Freddie, a young boy and girl, they find a secret passageway behind a bookshelf in their house.
Is it a new house or is it an old house?
I don't remember.
That's usually how those things go, but I don't remember either.
Yeah, and so they find the secret passageway. They go in there. It's kind of creepy and like crypt-like, and they eventually encounter a vampire. And he's been asleep for a long time, wants to eat him, the usual.
The classic.
But he's missing his magical powers, which in this episode, it's called Vampire Breath. And the kid finds it in a small jar. And so basically, he tries to fight with the kid to get it back, and the children fall down. A chute in his coffin. Quite the adventure. There's more ruckus going on. Eventually, the episode ends with you finding out that this vampire who's trying to kill the children is actually their grandfather.
Where are the parents? Are they out on a date night or
something?
Yeah,
but the way that they figure out that it's the grandpa is grandpire.
Yes, grandpire.
The way that they figure out the grandpire is that he comes out of this crypt chasing the children, and the parents come home, and then the parents go, Papa?
Yeah, Pops, we thought we lost you.
Exactly. And so it's
How do you lose your dad?
Your mind is just blown at that instant. And so these children are like completely scared of the vampire up to this point. But at this point, they're like, "Oh, we're all good now. We're not going to die. We're vampires too."
Look at that.
And
I wonder how that would have worked if you can suck a vampire's blood.
Yeah, I don't know. That's some serious lore questioning.
Question for Stephanie Meyer, I think.
Yeah, that's very true. Read those books. Loved every minute of it. And then the episode ends with the children being given new coffins in place of their beds to sleep in. And so they're basically initiated into the vampiredom at this point.
Right. Yes.
But they're completely afraid of it up to that point. But as far as the dad, or in this case, Grandpa goes, I thought he was great just because of how convincing he was.
So are you ranking the dad or the grandpa?
I'm ranking the grandpa.
Oh, okay.
Because he technically is the dad of the dad.
Oh, man, yeah.
It's dadception we have going on here.
I didn't know this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he is kooky. I love the dad. Well, no, he's the dad of the mom. It's hard to tell.
So it's not dadception. I forgot.
Yeah, right. And it's dad's self is really kooky as well, or semi-kooky, I should say.
Yeah, but due to his short appearance in the episode, I stuck with the
grandpa dad.
Yep. So that is my fourth dad.
It's a good dad. On to my third dad. Where is it? third dad. Okay, the top three for me were really hard. They were all super kooky and eccentric. But I just switched it last minute. So season 3, episode 20, Bride of the Living Dummy Dad. So it's pretty much one line that he says that just makes him super kooky. Well, he also looks pretty kooky. Kind of looks like Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, but the line he says is so good that even though he had a very minimal part in the rest of the episode, this line carries him to his position on Ross's rating. So
here's the premise. Like the first scene, the mom's getting dinner ready, and she goes, "Oh, go get your dad from the basement." Yada yada yada, and she goes down there, and he's like buzzsawing, and it's like she's like, "Dad, come get dinner," and like he can't hear. He's got, of course, proper safety equipment on his ears.
And as a true Canadian would.
Yeah.
Caring about the rules.
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Sorry.
This is also not safe. She just shuts off the buzzsaw, like the power source, and he's like checking it. And she's like, "Dinner's ready." And he goes, "Oh, man." He's so happy that he was just interrupted in his work. And he puts his hand on his hips and goes, "Just one more birdhouse and I beat the world record."
He is the most prolific birdhouse maker there ever was.
Apparently. Yeah, he's about to be.
Yeah, right?
We never know if he actually finishes his last birdhouse.
That is a mantle of greatness that only one person in the world can claim.
Yes. And this dad, in episode 20 of season 3, is about to claim it. And the whole premise of him having a buzzsaw in the basement and the fact that he's going to be the world champion birdhouse maker is so that there's a buzzsaw in the basement that Slappy the dummy ends up dying on.
Kind of dying.
Yeah, he comes
because he never really dies.
He never dies. But
he's too good of a character to die.
Yeah, you can't just kill off Slappy. The premise of that episode is just that there's another daughter that has a doll that Slappy has a crush on or something. They're gonna get married, and she ends up being evil and like can talk too. And then like I don't know, they wrestle. People like start wrestling in the basement. And the buzzsaw goes on and saws Slappy.
I'd like to move on to my third pick. Season 1, episode 9 and 10. Stay out of the basement.
Stay out of the basement.
Margaret's dad. So how this one starts is the mother has to go away for a while because her sister is just recovering from surgery. So the mother's away, and it's just a son and a daughter at home with their father, who is a recently fired botanist from a university.
Yep.
And he's in the basement all the time doing some plant experiments, and he just tells the children to stay out of the basement. Well, of course he goes away, and what do the children do? Go down in the basement.
Those darn kids.
And they see all sorts of plant experiments and craziness going on down there.
A moist jungle.
Exactly. And as the episode progresses, they figure out that their dad is crazy and might have killed a man, culminating in them going down into the basement, opening up a door, and finding out that their real dad was stuck down there, and that the dad that they thought was their dad was a plant copy of their real dad.
Because he was working on splicing human and plant genes.
This is high-tech stuff.
Yeah.
Usually Goosebumps is more about the scary, like, mythical beast, but this one was more of a high-tech, close-to-home one.
Ethics fringe, too. It's like,
indeed.
Is it right? Is it right for you to do this?
Especially when you're just fired. He was probably just trying to prove to the world that he was, a worthwhile dad.
He's ended up being a mad scientist.
Yeah. So why I like this dad so much, and I'm going to talk about the plant dad, because he's the one you see for 95% of the episode.
Which also brings up, is he the, Yeah,
there is some dad deciding who's the real dad issues, but for the sake of the episode, you think he's the real dad for most of the time, right. So I'm going to speak of him as the real dad.
Right.
I thought he was a great dad. Well, he was an awful dad. Yeah. But for the purpose of this podcast, I think he was a great dad for a few reasons. One, he did some totally nonsensical things that just advanced the plot. Like, when his children were in the basement, he arrives home, and when he gets home, he honks like 800 times for no reason. just for no reason. He wasn't wanting his kids to get the door or help him get groceries. He just arrives in their driveway and honks 100 times. And the kids see this as a signal to get out of the basement.
Yeah, because they were in the basement snooping at the time, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
Which was hilarious to me. That like they could think of no better way.
Oh no, that's the trademark dad honk.
Yeah, no, he's returned. So that was hilarious. Also, minus dad points on this. He cared about his work more than his children.
Ugh.
That was the plant dad, but the real dad did care about his children, so
Right.
some redeeming points there.
Right.
It also looked like he was secretly growing weed in the basement. Which I don't know where I stand on that, because it's hilarious that something like that would be in Goosebumps, but at the same time, probably not a good thing for a dad to be doing.
Cool dad or not cool dad?
Yeah, that's for you to decide. Another plus is that he could rock a floral apron very well, as he did when he made his kids this weird green plant oatmeal. So in seeing that, I'm aware that he's not afraid of the feminine side. He's not afraid of going in the kitchen, rolling up his sleeves, doing some work to feed his children. Even though he was trying to feed them toxic sludge that would turn them into plant people.
Right.
I appreciate the effort.
It's some
A
sort
for
of
effort.
nourishment.
A for effort. So that was my third.
On to my second pick. We're in the top two of each of ours. So here we go. My number two, season 2, episode 13, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes dad. This dad, I bumped him up at the last minute because he's just one of the kookiest dads. His fashion sense is so, I would say, Canadian chic. So this dad, his main hobby is lawn decorating, and he's in this, like, he's preparing for this big lawn decoration
Contest.
Yeah,
And it's basically his life. His decorating his lawn and his garden is like his main priority in life.
yeah. And there's this jerk of a neighbor who's a major or former major in the Canadian Army, so probably like a private in the United States Army.
Got him, Ross.
Got him. He's definitely not as nice as most Canadians. He's a real jerk, is always bashing.
The major, that is, not the dad.
The dad is the sweetest dad.
Oh, he's great.
He even talks about how proud he is of how he raised his son.
Yeah, I think as far as the actual parenting skills go, this may have been the best dad.
Yeah.
Like, he's teaching his children how to respond when people are being mean to them.
Yep.
And how to be respectful to people when it's hard.
Yep.
I think he truly brought the dad bar up as far as the series is
Indeed.
concerned.
If you want an exemplary dad, this might be the one to look to.
Other than his weird garden decorating fetish.
Yeah, definitely. There are parts that can be improved on. But anyways, he gets these garden gnomes, and they're actually, like, they come to life at night and end up destroying the neighbor's garden, and the neighbor's mad and thinks it's the son, and the son is like, no, it's not. And then the son goes out there at night, seeing the garden gnomes trash this, and, like, figures he'd go stop them.
As any good son would truly do.
Yeah, I guess.
Or idiot son, depending on what.
Yeah, I'd go with the latter. Because then he's caught out there, and the gnomes turn back to stone or something when lights shine on them, and so
it looks like, to the major, it looks like the child destroyed the garden.
right. So then he has to go do this and fix all of his stuff, and mayhem ensues. In the end, the major gets turned into some sort of garden gnome statue, and
So, good dad. On to my second dad. This is a classic dad because it was from season 1, episode 1. The Girl Who Cried Monster. The synopsis of the episode is this girl goes to a library and she finds out that the librarian is a monster.
Yeah.
And she tells her friends and her parents, and nobody believes her because she fools her little brother into thinking there are monsters everywhere. So no one believes her because they think she's just trying to fool her brother again. And so she goes back to the library the next day and sees him turn into a monster, again, the librarian, and he notices her. And so he chases her, and he's trying to eat her.
We should talk about the librarian a little bit.
Oh, should we? What do you think we should comment on?
Like, his weird demeanor. He's shaved head. He's huge. Like,
yeah,
like
he's a large man.
Like a large, tall man, burly, ish.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd say a Stone Cold Steve Austin out of his prime, maybe in 20 years.
Exactly, yeah. He's a little chubby.
Yeah.
But he's a big dude.
But he's soft-spoken.
Yeah, he's very soft.
Hello, Sarah.
Yeah, exactly. That was very good. So he's very creepy.
Yeah. Definitely the creepy vibe is there.
Mm-hmm. And so he's chasing her, trying to eat her. She gets away, but she realizes she left her backpack at the library.
Shoot.
So the monster guy comes to her house with the backpack in his human form.
Hello, Sarah.
And he wants her to let him in the front door, but she doesn't let him. Eventually, what happens is the parents don't believe their child that this monster is a real monster. And so they're like, that's so silly of you to think. Let's invite him over for dinner since he brought your backpack back, like such a nice guy. And so they invite him over to dinner. And what happens is you realize the parents are monsters, and they eat the librarian who's a monster.
What a twist!
It was quite the twist. I was not expecting this, especially in the first episode, to have such a twist.
Yeah.
So let's bring the dad in, who is a monster, but you don't realize that for most of the episode. Enter dad. Some things I liked about him was he was also helping the kitchen, which was a great dad attribute.
Right.
And he was making meatballs. Another great dad attribute was his weird comment about the meatballs. His wife was saying, you're making the meatballs too big. And he says, I happen to like big meatballs. Which I'm not sure which is like a dad joke or a weird sexual innuendo. But it happened, and it was funny. Because it was so weird.
Yeah.
He was also, as a good dad should be, concerned more with his child's completion of their chores rather than her well-being. That's a good dad attribute if I've ever seen one. You know, you got to get the work done before I care about you.
Exactly.
Just kidding. That's not what I actually believe, but I noticed it. Also, after they eat the librarian and it reveal to the world that they're monsters, this is the best part. It's hilarious. One of their daughter's friends appears in the windowsill with a monster hat on. So they think they have to eat him too because they want to eat the monster, so they're the only monsters in the area.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh my gosh, there's another monster, we have to eat him.
There can be only one.
And so,
or two.
Yeah. And so he takes his mask off and they realize it's just this child. And they're like, oh, come in for dessert. And then he's like, what are we having? Which is what the librarian said right as they ate him. Like he's like, oh, what are we having for dinner tonight? And they say, you, and they eat him. And the
kid asks the same question.
The kid in the window is like, oh, what are we having for dessert? And the dad turns his head, like, in that creepy sort of way, and says,
yes.
Your favorite. And then he pulls up a cherry pie out of nowhere.
No, I think you like cherry pie.
Oh, yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said. And he pulls a cherry pie out of nowhere. Yeah. And just puts it into the frame, and it was so funny.
It's so dad.
Yeah, like the ability to procure cherry pies out of nowhere is a very important dad attribute. So great dad. That's why he's my number 2.
Okay, then here we are with the final Kooky Dads. Drum roll, please. Our final Kooky Dad for Ross is season 5, episodes 9 and 10. Night of the Living Dummy 3. I think parts 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. It gets a little twisted, but
it does. So this dad is like just looks kooky, acts kooky, kooky hobbies, talks kooky, just altogether ooky.
The Kookmeister.
He's creepy and he's kooky. Mm-hmm. He's altogether ooky.
Yeah.
The Dadams family.
The Dadams family.
Okay, so this dad is a ventriloquist. I don't know what it is with all these ventriloquists.
Must be something about Canada.
Occupations in the 90s Canada.
Yeah.
But he's got his favorite ventriloquist dummy, Rocky, is one of them.
Yeah, and he's like this gangster, Chicago gangster, Al Capone looking guy.
So he scares his kids with him, and then he's like, "Oh man, look at me, I'm kooky." Yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. You might have to cover the rest of the episode because I don't remember the whole synopsis of it.
Oh, so
I just know
essentially,
how kooky the dad is.
what happens is he gets another dummy, adds it to his collection, which is the fabled Slappy, the evil dummy.
Oh, and he's broken from a previous episode. He's got a shard out of his eye, right? And they read the words.
Yes, they read the spell that gives Slappy life, and he comes back, and essentially, a cousin visits and gets scared by this. Eventually, Slappy takes the cousin captive and turns him into a dummy.
Yep.
And so the two kids have to somehow turn him back into a human.
This dad is just, I believe when we first see him, he's got like glasses. He's a little bit pudgier, like a great stout dad personality, body. Wearing a sweater vest, I think, is one of his favorite ones. His glasses are thick framed.
Yep.
His hair is coiffed.
Oh, so coiffed.
The coiffed.
The coifftest.
And like he just makes several good dad jokes and like dad puns.
Yeah, I want to point that out especially. Most of these dads don't do classic dad jokes.
Yeah.
And the fact that this guy did was so refreshing to me.
Yeah. So he is my favorite kooky dad. I would say it's really a toss up. But yeah. Now we're ready for Jimmy's.
Well, actually, I have one more comment on this
yes,
dad.
Please do.
He's a bit of a horn dog. The climax of the story happens as many of the Goosebumps episodes do,
Right.
Because the parents aren't present.
That's right.
And the reason the parents aren't present is because, well, what happens is they start, hugging and kissing a little bit, and then you just see them hold hands, get into their car, and drive off in the middle of the night. So I'll leave that to you guys, but he is clearly a horn dog. Okay, on to my number one.
Drum roll!
Season 3, Episodes 6 and 7, One Day in Horrorland, Part 1 and 2. So the synopsis of this episode is the family is trying to find a zoo that they're trying to go to. They can't find it, and on their drive, they find this horror theme park. They go there. They're the only ones there, and essentially all these horror, crazy, scary things happen while they're at the theme park. And at the end of the first of the 2 episodes, they find out that they're actually on a hidden camera show for the Monster Channel.
Yes.
So it's a cable TV channel for monsters to watch, and essentially it's like a reality TV show where these children and the family are getting scared, and the monsters just love it.
Yeah.
So that's where it ends. You realize that it's a TV show they're on, and then in the second episode, they get brought on a monster game show where they have a chance to win a car, and it's like it's kind of like Wheel of Fortune. Kind of like you have to spell out a word and you pick letters and such. Eventually they escape and all is well. But they go through this crazy monster ordeal. But back to the dad.
Back to the dad again. Whoop.
Yeah.
Goes Horrorland.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the dad again. Some things I really appreciate about this dad was he was the most Canadian of all the dads. Just his like happy, goofy attitude and his accent really just pushed the Canadian level further than any other dad did. Another important aspect of this dad is when they're driving, looking for this zoo, the mother says, "Should we go home? We're lost." And he says, "No, I want to keep going. I don't want to let my kids down. We're going to press on through and find it."
Real Chevy Chase move right there.
It was just shows how much he cares about his kids. And then consequently, you see how much he actually cares about his kids. When they're asked to be on this game show, they're like, "No, we just want to go home. We want to leave. We don't want to be involved in this." And then the game show host says, "But
win a new sports utility vehicle."
Yeah, he tells them that they could win a car by winning the show. And that just changes any decision that he wanted to go home. They're like, "A new car? We have to go on the show. There's no option here."
Right.
And so they go on the show.
And the mom's in on it too.
Yeah. Both parents are involved in this new SUV
craze.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're just all for it. And then they realize that the teams it's going to be the children versus the parents. And Ross, do you want to tell him what he says?
Like, everyone, they get like the kids start to get uncomfortable. Like, what? No, we can't go against our parents. And the dad's like, "How can we lose? Morris's versus Morris's." They're like,
Yeah.
"I don't know. New car." And he's just like going crazy. He's like,
Exactly.
"Man," he's like, you can see the hope in his eyes that they've clinched this new
car,
car.
yeah. Which ultimately never happens. Yeah, so I just thought that was hilarious how he, on the surface, cares about his children. He wants his children to think he cares about them, but in reality, does not give a crap.
Yeah.
Which made him very kooky and very funny to me.
So there you have it. Our top dad rankings. Sorry if we spoiled it for you. We encourage you to watch the show. Go check it out. There's so many more episodes and a couple more dads that were on our list that just didn't make it.
Yeah.
An honorable mention is R.L. Stine himself, I'd say.
Yeah, oh my gosh. He really brought it with these books and with the show.
Yeah.
We really appreciate him.
He's just a kooky dad, and like his dry jokes at the end, you're just like, they make you cringe, and you're like, yep.
We'll see if we can get him on our show sometime.
Yeah, right. We'll contact him. But yeah, let us know what you think about our list. If you have any suggestions or want to argue.
Did we miss any dads?
Did we miss dads that you thought were kooky? A huge shout out to my buddy Joe on this segment of the podcast. We watched Goosebumps all the time back in Stevens Point. And so just want to give him a shout out there.
Yeah, he was some of the heart and soul, the inspiration for this episode.
That's true. There you go, Joe. This episode's for you. That brings us to our next closing segment.
So,
Jimmy, tell them about it.
Yeah, so we decided to do a segment that our listeners can participate in too. We'll reveal the answers at the end, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Ross some questions, and you guys can keep along, answer the questions, and see how well you did at the end. So for this week, what we're doing is Ross and I realized that in Star Wars, the movies, the books, the universe in general, and
The Legos.
Yeah, the Legos, especially the Legos. Yeah. And in Magic the Gathering, which for those of you who don't know is a card game, which is a fantasy theme, so think dragons and knights and ghosts and stuff, so low tech.
And Lurgoyfs.
Oh my gosh, the Lurgoyfs. Yeah, so, and we realized that these two, though seemingly very different, their Venn diagram meets in the center, and the thing that is in the center are names.
Names of characters.
Yes. So we saw some names in Magic the Gathering that are like exactly names you think you would see in Star Wars. So for example, Dovin Baan, Arlen Cord, Noyendar, Silas Ren. These are like some of the most Star Wars names you could think of.
Right. And we think we have a formula for a good Star Wars name. And it's a total of 3 syllables.
Correct.
With one, either like 1 syllable as the first name or 2 syllables as the first name, but like total of 3 makes a great Star Wars name. And as long as there's like some sort of drawn out, syllable.
Yeah, like for example, in the new Star Wars movie Rogue One, the main character's name is Jyn Erso.
Jyn Erso.
So what we're gonna do is I have a list of 8 names, and I'm going to read them off, and Ross is gonna guess whether they're a Star Wars name or a Magic the Gathering name.
So both of us are big Magic the Gathering players and fans, and there's like so many stories behind the game itself, which is like it's pretty vast. But Jimmy's also a huge Star Wars fan, and I like Star Wars too, but I'm not in depth like Jimmy is. So this is how we figured it best to go about this, and I'm ready, Jimmy.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So
are you gonna read? You're gonna read them off, and then
I'm gonna read them one at a time. You're gonna tell me.
Okay.
And then listeners, you can keep along, and at the end I'll tell you the answers.
Okay.
So the first one is, and this might be the easiest of them all. I'll start it on the easiest.
Okay.
Arkham Dagson.
Arkham Dagson. Oh man, what a great name. 4 syllables, but a great name. Arkham Dagson.
Dagson.
Dagson. Cripes. I'm going to say Star Wars.
Okay. On to our next one.
It's pressure.
Plo Koon.
Plo Koon. Oh my gosh. Bum 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 bum. Plo Koon. I'm gonna go Star Wars for that one too.
Okay, Star Wars.
Oh man, I don't feel good about this. Plo Koon.
Mm-hmm. Owen Lars.
I feel bad. I feel like they're all should be Star Wars. Oh man, Owen Lars. I'm gonna go Star Wars.
Okay.
I shouldn't have gone 3 Star Wars in a row.
Well, I might be just doing that to mess with you.
That's
You
right.
don't know.
Yeah, you're one of those professors.
The answer is C every time. Yeah. Tor Wauki.
I can't handle this. These are so... Oh, man. Tor Wauki. I'm going to go Star Wars again.
Okay.
Shite.
Lord Magnus.
Lord Magnus. I'm probably going to get this. Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
Jimmy is not giving me any cues here, and I'm hating it.
I'm sorry.
I can't see if I got it right or wrong.
Valkorian.
Valkorian. Magic. Oof.
Okay. Ashoka Tano.
Wow. Man, Ashoka Tano. This is really tough. Star Wars. Man, I bet some people are just cringing. They're like, of course, that's blank.
Well, the cringe lords are going to cringe, so.
Cringers are going to cringe. Cringe.
And the final one.
Oh, boy.
Hakon. That's Haakon.
Oh, the double A. Hack. Double A. Magic. I'm going to go magic.
Okay.
This is rough.
So, let's go through it.
Okay.
The first one on my list is Hakon, and his full name is Hakon Stormgald Scourge, I believe. And he is a magic card,
Woo!
so that is one for Ross.
Yes!
Now, Arkham Dagson
Ooh.
was a magic card as well.
When I went back to it in my mind, I was like...
He's a mono blue legend from Ice Age who is maybe one of the worst commanders that I hate the most.
Oh, yes. Oh, I remember seeing his name now.
Yeah, don't ever play him. Anyone who plays Magic, he's evil. Tor Wauki.
What did I say?
You said Star Wars.
And?
He is a Rakdos legend from Magic.
Darn it.
So far, you're 1 and 2. Lord Magnus. You said Magic.
I said Magic.
He was Magic.
Yes.
So that one was kind of tricky. I wanted to put the Lord in there because that's, kind of a Star Wars trope. A lot of these ones, I tried to pick ones that would seem like they were from the opposite side.
Right.
To be tricky.
That's good. I mean,
to play the mind game.
Because I was torn on all of them. I feel like if one was in the other one, it would have been good too. And that's the point.
So you got 50% of the Magic ones correct. Now for the Star Wars names, Ashoka Tano, you said Star Wars. She was Star Wars.
Yes.
Plo Koon, you said Star Wars. Was from Star Wars.
Yes.
Owen Lars, you said Star Wars, is from Star Wars. For those of you who may not know, Owen Lars is Uncle Owen from Episode 4. The person who's essentially Luke Skywalker's...
Burned to a crisp, Owen.
Yeah, he turned into a crispy crisp.
Yeah. Crispy
Owen.
So,
a pretty well-known character in the series. And Valkorian, you said Magic... was from Star Wars. Oh, that was a tricky one.
What? Any knowledge on Valkorian?
Valkorian is a Sith Lord. Ooh. Well, actually, he was a normal person who got the Sith Lord spirit kind of stole his body, and he became a Sith Lord in the time of the Old Republic. So,
okay,
Sith Lord from the Old Republic era. Oh. So, with that all tallied up, you got 5 of 8.
Oh, that's better than 50%.
That is better than 50%.
Awesome.
Let's do the math. That is 62.5%, I believe.
You're so good at math. Awesome. So
Thank
there
you.
you have it. I would say, was that passing? Would you call that passing?
That's pretty good. I think a lot of these were very hard.
Oh, yes.
And I think this is kind of list where you second guess yourself a lot.
Yeah, I definitely was. I was trying to go off. But yeah, anyways. If you... So yeah, let us know what you thought of those and how you did on the quiz. You can tweet at us. I am at Real Ross Thorne.
And I am at Jimmy Pecue.
You can see the spellings on our page.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we want to do a shout out to Cody Scharf, one of my good friends who will be who's edited this episode. So thank you, Cody. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
So yeah, that brings us to the end of our first podcast.
Yeah, let us know how we did, what you liked about it. Give us some ideas for future topics, whatever you're thinking.
Yeah, what you liked, what you didn't like. Tweet at us. You know how to find us probably. Most of you probably already know us. But yeah, and tell your friends about us if you enjoyed it. So thank you so much. We appreciate it. And tune in next time. Jimmy, tell them about our topic for next time.
Next time's topic will be the top 5 driveway salts. So we'll see you next time for that. Thanks.
Thank you.